Hiya, thanks for joining me today. I'm going to be sewing the Hemingway pouch. It's a fantastically easy zipper pouch to make. It sews up so quickly. The longest thing that it takes is to sew the quilted panel, but hey, you can sew them in advance. I've got a brilliant hack for you and a super tip, so stick with me and we'll sew this. After ironing all the fabric, all the 3 layers, I'm using batting rather than a foam because it works better on my sewing machine. I'm just pinning all the layers together, getting ready to quilt. And a little tip here is I'm using a little presser foot that I bought online. It has the lines already on the presser foot. It just helps me quilt lines. That way I don't have to pre-draw lines or guides, or have a laser beam, to show me that I'm sewing in a straight line. I love this little foot, it works so well. And a great tip I have for you is to make a fabric quilted panel way bigger than what the pattern advises you to, because you can then trim your panel and cut out the piece that you've needed. Because with this pattern, you end up with a scrap piece of, an oddly shaped scrap piece of fabric, which you can then turn into a smaller pouch, but it's not very useful because then you still have a scrap after that. So here I am making it as big as I possibly can, and then I'm cutting it out to the measurements which are in the pattern, and then I will show you how much scrap fabric I have left over, which is useful scrap, and I'll be able to make several things for that. And I will have a video later on to show you what I can do with these scraps. But that's my big tip, is quilt as big a panel as you can manage from your fabric, and then cut the shape required for the pattern that you're sewing, because it makes it easier knowing that what you have left over is usable. It does make sense, you just got to follow along the pattern. Trust me on this. And as you can see here, I have some very usable sizes of scraps left over, which I will be able to turn into some projects, rather than just a small piece, which is kind of odd and kind of useless. Okay, so that diagonal angle that we just cut according to the pattern, that is where the zip goes. And following the pattern, you add your binding on next. So I just found some old quilt binding, and you fold it in half and then you just sew that on. Now, my big hack for this pouch is to add a loop or a tab, whatever you'd like to call it. So you can add a small loop, a small tab, you can add a bigger loop, and you can turn it into like a wristlet. But mine is, when folded, I like to have probably about like 2 centimeters tall, so like maybe 4 or 5 centimeters in total. So I just use some leftover binding, fold it in half and half again, so all the raw edges are inside. Sew those pieces flat and together, fold it in half, and then what you get, your big piece, the pouch that you're working on, fold it, find the halfway point here, as you can see, then you can add your loop. So you put it in upside down, pin it in place, and then just give it a quick sew so it's not going to move while you're finishing your binding. And once again, you can have a small loop, big loop, whatever you fancy. It just makes carrying it and makes this pouch so much more useful to have a loop or a hanging thread or whatever you'd like to call it. I'm just finishing off that binding of that diagonal cut as per the pattern. I will just fold that over so it's straight up, and then you sew over your loop, and that just adds some extra strength to it as well, and it won't go anywhere. Zipper tape time. Well, that's what I'm using. I'm just using this as a handbag zipper tape that I had on hand. It's a nice grey with this cute little star zipper tab on it. So I'm actually making this as a gift for a 15-year-old boy. Kind of wasn't sure what to get him. What do you buy 15-year-old boys who are into tech stuff, who actually have a job so they can buy all their tech stuff that they need? So that's why I decided to go a nice sized pouch that they can put anything in it. And I just, because you don't want to give an empty pouch, I just put some stuff in it that they can use for school. So putting the zipper on is pretty easy. It's actually kind of fun ripping up that zipper tape in half, but that's just me. So the hardest part of this entire pouch is adding that zipper tab back on to zipper tape. But honestly, it doesn't take that much. I could have edited this out and just done it quick, willy-nilly, but I was trying to keep it real. I find it actually easier after I've fiddled with it for a minute to remember that, oh yeah, it actually works if I put it flat on the surface. So you can get it done. It does take a little bit, but if you can work on a flat surface, you can do it so much quicker and easier. You can buy little devices to make things easier for you, but I don't do this often enough to warrant a device, a little zipper jig, I think they're called them. But once you can get that flat on the surface, pinch those two ends, it slides up straight away and you've done it. Well, not straight away. Sometimes you might have to just, wiggle and jiggle a little bit. But you'll get it, I promise. If I can do it, you can do it. And then once you've got that zipper tape on and the zipper tab on, you're almost there. It's like this is a really quick, easy pouch to make. So then you just got to turn it inside out, line up all your cut edges, and you just sew it. Sew the seam shut, then you can add your binding, and then you turn it inside out and it's all done. And then it's done. You've bound all your edges. It's all ready to turn inside out. And then you've got this magnificent pouch that you've made. And honestly, quilting the panel is what takes its time. Make sure you quilt more so you're not doing any waste. I know that doesn't make sense, but once you've made it, you'll realise, oh yeah, you have waste. But then you can just do this. It's fun quilting a panel. Just have a time of the day that's funnest for you and quilt that panel. And then, because this sews up so quickly, I think it's one of the quickest zipper pouches to sew because you've only got to deal with basically one zipper end, and then you're done. It's all done, and it looks awesome. Just a quick iron and it'll just be perfect. So this is it. This is what the birthday present is going to be. This awesome zipper pouch with that little hanging loop, a small little journal for whatever they want to put in it, some Kit Kats, of course, you've got to give chocolates to teenagers, mechanical pencils for school and erasable pens for school, and an awesome pouch that'll be gift wrapped along with a birthday card. What else do you give a 15-year-old?